Dear learners, I welcome you all in this D.El.Ed program 504 course at NiOS Studio. I am Dr. Jain Balia from School of Education, Central University of Jammu, and I will be sharing with you very vital topic of course 504, that is activities for developing creative abilities among primary level students, among elementary level students, and that is through very specific strategy seminars. Dear learners, through this video interaction, I am sure you will be able to understand the relevance of seminar as an activity in mathematics learning. You will be able to understand the benefits of having learning beyond classrooms. You will also be able to analyze the strategies of seminar as situations connecting mathematics learning. I am sure you will be able to understand varied learning situations leading to optimal learning outcomes. With these objectives, now I am starting with you this interaction for course 504. Dear learners, first thing you need to understand, what is the nature of learning tasks that impacts on students' creativity? You all understand that we always talk about nurturance of creativity among students, and specifically in mathematics or sciences. How could we make the mathematics learning situation as a platform for students for developing creativity? So first, let me discuss with you what could be the learning situations, learning tasks that would have impact on students' creativity. First thing we need to talk about is that the learning situation or learning task should be activity based, as the tasks would be designed in such a manner that students are attracted, students do participate, they get engaged on spot, spontaneously. Because you all understand John Dewey's philosophy. When he talked about learning by doing, you might have read his book, that is Democracy in Education, where he has said that we need to democratize education system. We need to create the learning situations in the class which are activity based, because every person is active by nature. We always feel delighted. We always feel happy to be active, to participate, and therefore any learning task which is activity based would lead to the nurturance of creativity among students. Another issue which I will be taking with you is that learning tasks should be challenging. Any challenging task, any task which has the platform, which has the avenues, which have opportunities of challenging nature, that means the task should not be neither too easy nor too difficult, but must be mentally challenging for the learners. Because more challenges you provide, he or she would attend and employ with full potential. Because generally students would like to encounter, like to participate in a challenging situation, and then they get engaged in solving their task, which gives them mental satisfaction. Another point which you need to understand in terms of nature of learning task is divergent solutions. Any situation of learning, any learning task which has not only one answer but variety of divergent solutions. Mathematics, generally you feel that when we solve any question of maths, we have one route, we have another route, we have different ways of solving that problem. And as a teacher, dear learners, you should try to adopt those divergent paths of learning, divergent situations of learning. The task encouraging creativity need to have several possible solutions. not only one solution, but we have to try by using variety of modes of learning. And this encourages learning to search for an innovative solution. That's what we have to understand is we talk about divergence in path of solutions. Now we come to another nature of learning, another aspect of learning, that the learning situation, learning tasks should be logical and problem oriented. Mathematics, you understand, is a subject having so many problems, having so many issues which are connected to the life situation. In one of the presentations, you might have seen that we do talk about learning beyond classroom, learning which is actually connecting the content to the real life experience of the students. So, unlike problems in other areas, mathematical problems have distinct logical structures. It should have distinct logical structures. And the situation of that task or the situation of that mathematical learning, that should be problem oriented. It should have a base of a problem, and generally we take up the problem which is connected with their real life experience. Once the learner becomes familiar with the logical structure, he or she tries to decipher the logic. Decipher in the sense that he tries to connect and makes the link with the logic and with the solution, with the life situations. And in the process, he or she tries to employ several innovative processes to solve the problems consistent with the logical structure. That means when you provide him or her a logical problem, a logical learning task, a task which is problem oriented, he would be or she would be very happy to connect with the different problems with different structures and resolve that issue. Another aspect I have shared with you all students about the nature of learning task which connects, which helps in nurturance of creativity, that is the task should be pictorial or graphic representation based. That means the representing mathematical data and relations. You might have seen students generally feel happy or generally get involved in the problems which have some pictures, which have some graphics, which have some diagrams, some figures, and that should be the base. Mathematics is a subject of numbers, subject of graphs, subject of pictures, subjects of diagrams, and we should create those situations where students can have the exposure of pictorial and graphics from different content areas. And what happens that it helps in developing quantitative aptitude among students. You might have seen that students have to be ready for any challenge in life when they have to resolve any question, any situation which has a quantitative aptitude base, and that situation should be taken up in the classes. So these were all different nature of learning tasks. Those were different issues connected with learning platforms, learning situations, learning opportunities, which could affect students' creativity. And then now we'll be coming further that what should be the strategies for proper identification. We understand that what should be the nature of task, but as a teacher, dear learners, you need to understand what should be the strategies for proper identification of creative abilities among students. Because unless you identify their creative abilities, you cannot plan any activity. If you plan the activities, you won't be able to go for the optimal results. So that is the point when you actually think in terms of identification of creative abilities among students. And for that purpose, first of all, you have to recognize alternative ideas or methods of solution proposed by the students. Whenever a student gives you any alternative idea, alternative method, alternative route of any problem solution, you have to give him recognition. You have to accept it. The teacher should always, even that solution may not be exactly correct, no problem, but you have to give him recognition. You have to appreciate. You have to give him place in that whole path of solution. And that is the main point. whenever you talk to the students, you take up a problem in the class, maybe that student gives you a solution which may not be as per your frame, as per your aspect of that part. So you have to recognize. Another point is another step, another strategy after for proper identification of creative abilities would be collaboration. Both students and teachers have to go for the search of alternatives, because just now I discussed with you all that what are the nature of learning, and there itself I talked about that we have to go for a situation where the students and teachers both together participate. So somewhere you need to collaborate with the students. It shouldn't be only a teacher-centered path. You have to provide them the kind of situation where they come out with their solution, they come out with their divergent solution, they come out with their paths of solutions, and then you collaborate that part. And collaboration is somehow you can call it integration. How do you integrate? How do you actually converge those solutions given by the students, given by yourself, and then you actually lead to the problem solution? Then you have very important issue, more of brainstorming and reflective thinking you have to encourage. Because creativity or creative abilities cannot be identified unless you give them a situation of brainstorming, when they have the situation of reflective thinking. And that is the, I would say, the crux of the situation where creative abilities of the students could be identified. And you have to give them encouragement for divergent thinking. That is the strategies. And also you have to give them more scope of problem posing and problem solving. And as I have been sharing with you in other presentations, that the NCF 2005, National Curriculum Framework 2005, has taken care of this scope where the students could pose a problem. You have to give them freedom kind of thing in the class or in the whole phase of learning, where they pose the problem and then they also suggest the solution related with mathematics content, related with mathematics content areas. And very important thing, that you need to give the freedom to the students for questioning and expressing their ideas. It's connected with the last point which I was sharing with you. You have to give them freedom so that they are free to ask any question. They are free to express their ideas. And more scope and freedom for fluent expression and elaboration of ideas. More expression is more, for that purpose you have to be generous with the students. You have to create a conducive atmosphere in the class so that they come out with their expression, and that way fluent expression, I'm not talking in terms of grammar only. I'm talking in terms of their logical connectivity of mathematics. And you have to motivate them. You have to accept their views and suggestions, and you have to ensure that there is an active learning and process-based assessment. Because the assessment process has to be active-based, has to be activity-based, has to be active learning-based. We have to give up those traditional or very conservative evaluation techniques or assessment tools. We have to develop, we have to create the opportunities where you can assess the students when he is actively involved in the process of doing any problem solution. So these are the different strategies, students, which learners you have to actually take care if you are willing to go for identification of creative abilities among students. Now come to the seminar as one of the very popular strategy for nurturance of creativity. How could we use seminar method in mathematics? Because that is the main thing you have to understand. Seminar method is employed to realize the higher objectives of cognitive and affective domains. I think somewhere you might have studied, somewhere you might have analyzed. We generally talk about 3 domains of learning: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. And within cognitive domain, we have so many abilities at lower level, at middle level and a higher level. And seminar as a method helps in developing, helps in realizing the higher objectives of cognition, higher objectives of affective domain. And that's nothing but your divergence, your analysis, your evaluation, how to evaluate, how do you actually analyze the situation, how do you go for a higher level of learning. So, higher learning processes requires the interactive and integrated methodologies based on psychological principles. In seminar, we go for the integrated methodologies, integrated methods, not only one method we use, we try to integrate various methods of learning. Seminar methods apply such technique of human interaction in intervention with the learning and teaching experience. So, teachers have their own learning experience, teaching experience, students also have their own learning experience. What we do, we try to integrate, we try to interact with the students, and also we try to integrate all those learning and teaching experience so that we can give them the best learning situation, and that is the seminar method in mathematics. Now, seminar is coming at a very emerging pedagogy of mathematics. Generally, what we feel, seminar is a kind of situation where you have some experts and it is organized at national level or state level. I am talking about using seminar as an emerging pedagogy in mathematics, and especially with the elementary school students. For that purpose, students prepare by reading a problem or group of problems, writing some higher level or higher order discussion questions about the text. So, you give them the problem and then they come out with their own observations and the solution. On the seminar day, students sit in a circle. I am citing with a very popular example, which is a very different example of fish bowl technique, where students sit in two circles. So, I will be sharing with you just now that students sit in a circle and introductory and open-ended questions are posed by the teacher, so that they select the problems, they actually go for the proper identification of the problem. Before that, teacher gives them a variety of open-ended questions. From there, students continue the conversation and prompting one another to support their claims with others. So, that they have interactive sessions, they interact with each other and then they talk about different aspects. So, that is the seminar as in study. Now, a question is, what are the basic phases? How to conduct, how to use seminar as a strategy in learning mathematics? So, some of the steps I will be sharing with you. You see that the first step is identification of content area. We have to identify the content area which could be actually taken up through seminar strategy, because basic purpose of seminar is to nurture and soft creativity. Basic purpose of seminar is to give them the platform where they are engaged and they come out with their problem solution in a very vital way. So, the first step is identification of that content area. That is the task of the teacher as well as the students. He has to discuss with the students and come out with some or two or three topics for a month or for a week, so that the same could be taken up with the seminar technique. And then formulation of objectives of the seminar. You formulate objectives. What do you want to achieve through this seminar? Whether you knowledge development or understanding, whether the application part, whether some skill part, all these objectives are framed. Because more you are clear with the objectives, better you will have learning. Then assignment of roles and responsibilities to the participants. After selecting or formulating objectives, after selecting content area, you have to assign roles and responsibilities to the participant. And also you see that what are the resources available, what are the resources required for the conduct of seminar, or for the purpose of taking up the seminar as a strategy of teaching and learning process in mathematics. And then you can conduct a pre-setting phase, so that you can just check that what are the resources available and what are the problems I could face when we go for the actual conduct of the seminar. So, you can have a pre-setting phase of the seminar, and then you conduct the actual seminar. And also you write down, you do the formative and summative evaluation. You see that what were the problems in conducting seminars, and then you evaluate the whole seminar, and then you go for complete kind of assessment, a complete kind of achievement performance. that what were the gaps you could not fill up, and then next time you go for the good seminar. So seminar is very popular strategy for enhancing literature, enhancing this kind of creativity, nurturance of creativity among students. Now, how to apply? As I told you, I'll be using here one of the strategy of seminars. Seminar, you have variety of strategies. Just one of the strategies I'll be sharing with you, that is fishbowl arrangement. How do students and teachers sit in the class when seminar is conducted? So you have one inner circle and then you have one outer circle, and sometimes you can have two outer circles. I'll show you the diagram like this, the way students sit in fishbowl technique in the seminar. So some students are inside the circle number 1, and then other students are in the second phase, second level of fishbowl setting. So group A, group B, you can divide your students in 2 groups. You can divide the students in 3 groups. So you have one central circle, and then you have subsequent such kind of circles, and this technique is known as fishbowl technique in seminars. And that is one of the very popular technique. You see that again, I go back to that when the students are beginner, the teacher may write the discussion questions and give them the inner circle students. Inner circle students are the main students who are given the task, and the subsequent outer circle students who are sitting in outer circle, they have to simply watch and observe and also get engaged, also in terms of participation, but the key participation would be of inner circle. And then those students are taken out, inner circle students, and then outer circle students, they go in. That is the method, and then it takes interaction, it takes further enhancement, and students are engaged in the whole learning process, whether they are in inner circle or outer circle, and total learning is extraordinarily qualitative learning. So in this way, this seminar technique could be used mainly for fishbowl technique. Seminar is a big strategy. Under that strategy, you have a variety of techniques. So I just cited one fishbowl strategy or fishbowl technique. Now we come to next part, that is what are the precautions to be taken while using seminar. Teachers have to be very clear that when you organize seminars, when you actually plan seminars, when I'm again, let me very clear, dear learners, that I am not talking about seminars which are organized on a broad themes at national and state level. I am basically referring using seminar as a pedagogical strategy, as a pedagogy in the classroom, whether you are teaching algebra, trigonometry, geometry or arithmetic, how to use it, how to conduct it, and how to ensure that maximum achievements you have in mathematics. Now, what are the, I wouldn't say shortcomings, but what are the constraints or what are the restrictions you have to take care while using seminar? You have to take care that there is no discriminating or partial attitude towards any individual or a group of learners. That could be because of historical aspects, that some students had taken good participation or had been totally involved, and then you give them more of weightage next time. No, I would suggest you all, dear learners, that discriminating or partial attitude should not be there in teachers in all different phases of seminars, whether you involve them in the discussions, whether you ask them to participate in the seminar, whether you give them the task of giving lectures, whatsoever, there should not be any element of discrimination or partial attitude. And you have to avoid improper planning. Planning should be done thorough. The identification of duties to the students, identification of different aspects, and everything should be taken care of. Then also you have to take up the divergence of abilities among teachers. If you have 3-4 teachers, there could be a divergence of abilities. That should also be taken up with the discussion, with the interaction, too much of interaction with your colleagues, too much of interaction with the students. I think that divergence of abilities could be reduced. You can't have the flat, you can't have the same level of divergence, but you can have a little less kind of variation in divergence. And the lack of coordination. Undoubtedly, this would be a problem. I have seen personally that whenever seminars are used as strategy of classroom, pedagogical strategy, there could be some problems of lack of coordination that has to be taken care of. Teachers have to take care that there is a lack of coordination among the colleagues, among the students, so that the whole conduct of seminar goes successfully. So this was the way teachers have to take care. They have to use seminar as a strategy. Dear learners, today we discussed the relevance of seminar as an activity in mathematics learning. We also talked about what could be the benefits of having learning beyond classrooms. What could be the actual outcomes of learning without classrooms. We also discussed the strategies of seminar as situation connecting mathematics learning. What could be the strategy? I took up the example of fish bowl technique, and I discussed with you how can you have inner circle and the outer circle, and those outer and inner circle gets exchanged after a passage of time, maybe on the same day, maybe on the next day. And you also try to understand the various learning situations leading to the optimal learning outcomes. So that was the discussion, dear learners. I am sure that through this video interaction you are clear about the relevance of seminar, the phases of seminar, the advantages of seminar, and I am sure that in any situation in life, whenever you get an opportunity to take up any situation of learning, you will always be delighted to use seminar with the students, and so that their all around development takes place. With this, we complete this interaction. That is the part of course 504, and for D.El.Ed program which is being taken up by NiOS. So I say I always express my gratitude to you for participating in this video session. Thank you.